Part 3. Now, where did I get to? We were talking about NVQs, circulating people, getting them mobilised, getting more family linked up, and really sort of like bringing opportunity together for travel and stuff like that. Now, this is a big part of it that come in and started to unroll over the years. People's injustices that were going on systematically. I met a couple of women around festivals that probably prevalently in this today's culture there's a abundance of street drugs and there's an abundance of different things out there, so you've got more problems arising, like mothers, vulnerable single mothers that are basically approached by the government at the wrong time in a hospital bed covered in bruises, believe it or not, some woman in an abusive relationship who signs over her kids at that time for a forced adoption. This still happens, I've been told. That's just my personal experience meeting two people. So how many other times does it happen? So it got to me thinking this, especially with my own experience when I went to court for a drunken disorderly that ended up grossly abused, systematically abused, basically. So basically I was like, arrival prime is citizens' advice and distribution of wealth. Don't forget it's making its own media. So those injustices, when they arise, 100% transparency, throwing money at it, you're taking up that criminality that we have started to understand that is directly within the government, the biased authorities that don't really protect the individual. We see people struggling outside courts. When you live in London, you're more aware of these things. You walk past these tents outside, justice for parents and stuff, where people have lost their kids and that's them fucked for the rest of their life, heartbroken for the rest of their life. We don't see these things or think about these things because we don't want to think about them. They happen. Arrival prime power to the people right on time. If there's a social lubricant link out there that can just highlight the things that are going on as and when they're going on, please help me. I'm in this position. Okay, we can document that for you. We might be able to get you better legal aid, and if that okay, can it be transparent? Can it make its media? Can it be published? Yeah, I'm sure they would happily go with that. You know what we see in newspapers and stuff, they're documenting global politics as stories, and it's not in our interest. It never was in our fucking interest. It's serving the 1% of people on the planet. It's taking money from our pockets to say that they're going to do a better job of doing a better job of what? When we can do it actually ourselves. For every qualified nurse and every qualified doctor we can get free. With a social link like this, it's just a van and a brand, but if it's got a... Let's get to part 4 in a minute, because now I'm going to start talking about people being in a directory. Imagine you've worked in a undertakers, you've worked as a nurse, you've worked as a doctor, all of these social roles that are necessity, 100% necessity, they could become freed up. They could be freed up, totally freed up. And this is when I'm going to get to why COVID's just might compound this into your minds, so why it could be so fundamentally important in an environment that is crumbling around us. In a situation like this, is high pressure. This is where it would be the most standout chance to take back power and be like, we will sort this out amongst us. Think like in Ireland, you have wakes, people keep their dead in the home, they have community come round, it's transparency, it's not like, you know, this can broaden the industrial side of life for people to work as self-employed people and do freelancing stuff to make money, to work with families independently, distributing wealth. You know, people struggling, it should be like highlighted. Family, come on now, there's so many billions in the world. This is what I've learned. It's like a fucking ridiculous amount of money in the world spent on looking for particles and molecules in large hydrogen colliders, Pamela and Opera to name 3, across the world, just looking for a thing called a friggin' Higgs particle, just to justify all the other particles that are found. Oh, they can't exist without this other field that we theoretically think is called the God molecule. Okay, well, I propose that's right in here. Unless you can crack open a skull and then shoot the contents of it around a fucking thing, maybe you're never gonna find it.